Hello everyone and welcome back to Lion's Lane. My name is Leo and I'm bringing you another video of our Fly in July art challenge. So today's prompt was Aqua, and I knew immediately what I wanted to draw for this one. So when a lot of people think of water and think of creatures, they often think of mermaids or sirens, and siren is exactly where my brain went. And now you might be saying to yourself, Leo, aren't sirens mermaids? What do those have to do with birds or flying creatures? Well, fun fact, sirens actually were originally depicted as having wings and being more bird-like, with the faces of beautiful women, and actually even before that they had beards. But somewhere along the way they got misconstrued as being these beautiful, sensual, mermaid-type creatures. So I decided to kind of do a mix of the two and create this siren type lady, and she has a combination of 3 different animals actually, and which you might be able to see in the sketch here. So I will put up some pictures here. She has the wings of an albatross, then the fins of a flying fish, and finally the tail, sort of a thresher shark. The reason I chose these 3 animals, well, albatrosses are one of the first birds I think of when I think of the sea. They fly miles and miles and miles and miles over the ocean. In fact, they live pretty much their whole life over the ocean, except for when they're mating. Then they come to land. They also have this capacity to like dive into the water after fish and kind of swim a little bit. So that kind of made sense for me for a siren. Flying fish, of course, because, well, they give us the illusion that they're flying by the way that they kind of jump out of the water and glide. And then their fins look like these beautiful translucent wings. And then the tail of the thresher shark was just kind of, you know, sirens look beautiful, but they're luring sailors to their death. So, and sharks are pretty scary sometimes. So I thought I would do a thresher shark tail. So this siren is kind of like a chimera of sorts, but and there's more pointy ears. I've come to realize doing this challenge that I have a penchant for red hair and pointy ears. But anyway, yeah, so I was really excited to do this piece. I think overall it only took me like 2 hours to do, so I'm pretty proud of that fact, because normally art takes me a lot longer. But I think it was easy because I pretty much saw right away in my head exactly what I wanted to draw, which doesn't always happen, but when it does, I'm super excited because I can pop out a sketch, get everything done pretty quickly here. So here I am just kind of modifying this sketch, keeping things pretty neat. I'm really making sure that everything is where I want it. I don't do this angle of the face often, this kind of up look. I did it with the first prompt in the Prism challenge with the angel. So I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but I think it turned out pretty good in the end. Here I am drawing some hair. I find that the trick with really long hair is just to be very loose with your gesture, with your arm or your wrist or whatever. When you're drawing it, and it makes it look more realistic, I find, because you're not so meticulously trying to put things into place. You can see here I also wanted to add some extra fins in between the 2 sets that were already there, but they ended up being a little bit too crowded along the side there. One thing I'll say that I probably would want to do in the future, if I ever come back to this piece, is maybe do it again, but on a bigger canvas, because I realized when I was lining that I was having some issues with the lines coming out as crisp as I would like them to be, so, which you guys will see here in a minute. But overall, I'd say I really like the composition of this piece. To me, it's very elegant and very kind of mystical. And I had debated off and on whether I was going to go with the pointy ears or not, but I decided, you know, it makes me happy, so I'm just going to do it. I did plan to have some sort of representation of her singing, if you guys can see kind of in the upper right corner there, but I do end up getting rid of that just because I couldn't think of a way to do it that it wouldn't look kind of corny. So I decided to leave that part out, but if I ever come back to it, that might be something that I'd add in. So that hand position right there is probably one of my favorite hand positions to draw because it's very action oriented. Like, you stretch it out, lower the wrist, fingers up. It's very elegant. Admittedly very feminine, so on characters that are meant to be more masculine, I don't do that pose as often. But it adds some flair, some drama, you know. There we go into the tail. Just doing some more lines. These lines were like a dark blue. My original plan, to save time, was to do kind of like a sketch coloring sort of thing, where everything would be very monotone with a few things accented. But I decided to take the extra time and do a full color piece with this one because I was having so much fun with it, I just went for it in the end. And here I am drawing the hair. So even with the line art here, even though I'm following a template, I'm trying to be as loose as possible, which is kind of what I do with all of my line art, actually. I found that it helps me to get better lines if I'm just very fluid. The lines become less shaky, they're more confident, and I think it really reads in the piece overall. Lowered the hairline there. I realized that the head was looking the forehead was like a 5 head. So I fixed that. And then I think I'm just adding kind of the finishing touches as far as line art goes. Added some impression here for the second row, the inner row of feathers on these wings. Admittedly, they could have been a bit more detailed, but I didn't want to spend forever trying to render out super detailed wings. Especially because it's very late at night that I'm uploading this, so... Here we go with the flying fish fins. And I tried to get across that they were transparent, which you guys will see in the coloring phase, but I don't think it really comes across that well, so that might be something else that I'd want to change if I ever come back to this piece. Which I probably will. I was thinking as I was drawing it how this would be a really beautiful painting. So if you guys are interested in painting, like digital painting, let me know, because that is something that I would love to upload eventually. Keep in mind those do take a lot longer, so they would be sped up probably pretty extremely. Or if you guys would be interested in seeing like an actual full process video, then I can do art on Twitch, or, you know, make a Twitch account or something. Yeah, just let me know, because I would love to repaint this and work on painting some other things. So there I added in a little bit of a background, and I darkened the line art because it wasn't showing up everywhere. And here's where I'm just adding in some flat colors. The lines were so thin that the color bled? The color bled out a little bit, so I had to fix that. Here I am just adding some light tone underneath. Flying fish, they have, most of the time, have like a really light underside, and then like a darker blue-green side. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And then I just took the smudge brush and faded that a little bit to make it look more natural. And I took extra care on the bottom, which you guys will see soon, I think, to make sure that part was darker since it was further away from the surface. But here I go, adding some detail to the wings. Not much, just some color. So since she's underwater, I really wanted to add blue tint to almost everything. So that's what I did there with the wings just now. Also, I'm not sure if her breasts ended up exactly anatomically correct with that pose. It's different, obviously, between a male and a female, as far as like the chest muscles underneath would work the same way, but since females have the tissue on top, that might not be exactly correct, but I think it gets the point across. And I went with green here at first because I thought it made sense, but then I couldn't help myself and I landed upon this like pinky red, and I was like, oh, I have to do it. And I actually really kind of liked it together. It kind of complemented that greenish tint in the wings, or the fins, nicely. And who am I kidding? I can't resist adding red hair to any character I do ever, so I tried really hard in yesterday's video with all of those images to not give anyone red hair. I tried so hard, and I succeeded, but it was very difficult. So here I'm just adding some shading. I wasn't going to shade originally, but like I said, I started to fall in love with this piece and took it there. And there I made the shading a little bit more purple and a little warmer. That's something I like to do in my art style, is I actually make my shadows a little bit warmer. I think it just gives... I know it's technically artistically not correct, like the shadows would be more desaturated, but for me, just making a shadow a little bit warmer just adds a certain kind of je ne sais quoi, if you will, to the piece overall. So, and I'm adding some shadow to the lower half of the tail, again in a kind of a purpley blue color, just to kind of add emphasis to the fact that that part is further away from the surface of the ocean, you know, and it's not exactly where I want the viewer's eye to go, so darkened that up a little bit. And I even gradiate here with these sparkles, which are supposed to look like scales, make that lighter as well as it goes further down. So just kind of a little lighting tip, I guess. I usually make my backgrounds the lightest around the face, the darkest around the legs, because you really want the focus to be, usually, not always, but you generally want the focus to be the face and the upper torso area. I thought I was going to add some sparkles to the fins there, but it just didn't really feel correct, so I just left that alone. And we're getting towards the end of the piece here. I'm adding in some strokes with a flat brush. Low opacity to kind of simulate light rays or light shafts coming from the top. And then I use the Gaussian blur effect on a duplicated version of that to kind of make it look more soft. And it's on a color dodge layer, if you guys were wondering. Then Procreate has this awesome water brush, which I use to get this effect here. And I tried to draw a bubble, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I ended up going with some other effects, but yeah, this video is finishing out, so I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. I hope you liked this one in particular. I really, really liked this one. Added some bubbles there, kind of coming out of her mouth like she's singing. Doing some more light rays here, but yeah, I really, really liked this prompt. It was really fun. I had the idea immediately. I've always been a huge fan of, you know, mermaids and mythological creatures and stuff, so this one seemed really easy to me to throw in there. And I guess it's technically cheating, just because the only thing flying about it really is the albatross, but whatever. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. As always, if you liked what you've seen here today, go ahead and leave a subscribe down below. I would appreciate it very much. And leave a like and a comment too if you feel so inclined. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future. I am going to keep doing these prompts all the way through July, but I'm interested to see what I should start working on after that. So you guys give me some ideas down below. Share this video with anyone you know that likes art. And yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. And I will let you enjoy the rest of the video.